The line in the stars. The void between stars was silent but not empty. Captain Alina Reyes stood at the viewport of the UES Sentinel, her dark eyes reflecting the distant pinpricks of light that dotted the blackness. The ship hummed beneath her feet, a living thing of metal and energy, cutting through space on its patrol route along the edge of human-settled territory. Proximity alert, called Lieutenant Park from the sensor station. Unknown vessel at coordinates 227 Mark 43. Elena straightened, brushing a strand of silver-streaked black hair from her face. At 53, she was older than most active captains, but the frontier needed experienced hands. 27 years in space had taught her that unknown usually meant trouble. Identification, she asked. None, Captain. Configuration doesn't match any known signatures in our database. First contact. Even after a century of interstellar travel, humanity was still meeting new neighbors. Some came in peace, some didn't. Yellow alert. Shields up, but weapons cold. Alina ordered. Open a channel. The ship's AI complied, and Alina cleared her throat. This is Captain Alina Reyes of the United Earth Ship Sentinel. You've entered human space. We welcome peaceful contact, but will defend our territory if necessary. Please identify yourselves. The response came after a long moment, a burst of clicking sounds and low, rumbling growls that the ship's translator struggled to process. We are Valthori. The translation finally came through. Your presence is noted. Your warning is unnecessary. There was something in that pause, a contempt that made the hairs on Alina's neck stand up. She'd heard that tone before, from species that saw humans as prey rather than equals. I hope so, Alina replied evenly. We prefer peaceful relations, but please understand our boundaries. This system contains civilian settlements, including families with children. We take their protection very seriously. Another pause, then, children, young ones. Yes, we understand the concept. The Valthori ship changed course, moving deeper into the system rather than away. Alina frowned. Sir, Park said, voice tight. They're accelerating toward New Haven colony. New Haven, population 15,000. Alina's sister lived there with her family. Her nephew had just started school last month. Red alert. Intercept course. And get me the colony on comms. The Sentinel surged forward, but the Valthori ship was faster, impossibly fast. By the time Alina's warning reached New Haven, the alien vessel was already entering orbit. They're jamming communications, reported the comms officer. Colony defenses are activating, but they're minimal, Alina finished. New Haven was a farming colony, not a military outpost. How long until reinforcements arrive? Nearest battle group is 4 hours out, Captain. 4 hours. Too long. Alina watched on the tactical display a smaller craft launch from the Valthori ship, descending toward the colony's main settlement, toward the school. They're targeting civilians, Park said, horror in his voice. Alina's blood ran cold. Push engines beyond safety limits. Get me a direct channel to the Valthori ship. When the connection was established, Alina didn't bother with diplomacy. Valthori vessel, cease your attack immediately. You're targeting non-combatants and children. This is your only warning. Harm a human child, and you will not live to regret it. The response came back almost amused. Threats from herbivores. Your children will teach us what we need to know about human weaknesses. Perhaps then you will understand your place in the greater order. The line went dead. They cut transmission, the comms officer reported. Alina's fists clenched until her knuckles whitened. Send emergency broadcast to all ships in the sector. Code Black. Child threat protocol initiated. Around her, the bridge crew stiffened. Code Black wasn't just an emergency call. It was a covenant, as old as humanity's first steps into space. An understanding that transcended military chains of command, political differences, even species rivalries with their allies. Harm human children, and all other concerns became secondary. The Sentinel raced toward New Haven, But they were still 30 minutes out when the first distress calls broke through the jamming. At the school. Taking the children. Please, someone help. Then a different voice, a child's voice, choked with tears. They're hurting everyone. Mom's not moving. Please. The transmission cut off with a scream. Alina had been in battles before. She'd faced death and made hard choices. But nothing in her career had prepared her for the cold fury that washed through her veins in that moment. Her hands didn't shake. Her voice didn't waver. She was beyond that. All weapons online. Prepare boarding parties. We're going to hit them with everything we have. 25 minutes later, the Sentinel dropped out of emergency FTL on the edge of New Haven's atmosphere. The colony below was burning, prefabricated buildings reduced to rubble and ash. The Valthori ship hung in orbit, a predatory shadow against the planet's blue curve. Life signs? Alina asked, her voice terribly calm. Scattered throughout the settlement. Larger concentration at the central compound, likely where they're gathering captives, Park replied. Multiple juvenile signatures, but fewer than there should be. Alina nodded once. Target their engines. We need to keep them from leaving with any prisoners. Before the Sentinel could fire, 3 additional ships appeared at the system's edge. Not the expected reinforcements, but civilian vessels. Miners, freighters, a passenger liner, all responding to Code Black. Alina opened a channel. This is Captain Reyes. Be advised, we are engaging a hostile force that has attacked the colony and targeted children. Any assistance is welcome, but this is not a standard combat situation. We know what Code Black means, Captain. The voice belonged to a freighter captain, her tone flat with controlled rage. We've got makeshift weapons and volunteers. Point us where to hit. More ships arrived. 5, 10, 15. A motley fleet of vessels never designed for battle, crewed by civilians and retired military personnel who dropped everything to answer the call. The Valthori ship's commander opened a channel, its translated voice now cautious. Human vessel. Your response is disproportionate. We claim salvage rights to this colony and its resources. The young ones are leveraged to ensure compliance. You were warned, Alina replied simply. Harm a human child, and you won't live to regret it. The Valthori commander's confusion was evident. Your military force is hours away. These are merchants, civilians. You cannot seriously intend to attack with such vessels. You don't understand humanity yet, Alina said. Let me educate you. When you threatened our children, you didn't just declare war on our military. You declared war on our species. As if to punctuate her words, the first civilian ships opened fire. Mining lasers repurposed as weapons, improvised explosives launched from cargo bays. Individually, none posed a serious threat to the Valthori warship. Together, they were a swarm of fury. The Sentinel joined the attack, targeting the Valthori's propulsion with surgical precision. The alien vessel returned fire, its superior weapons tearing through a freighter and damaging 2 others. But they didn't retreat. More ships arrived with each passing minute, forming a protective ring around the colony below. Alina watched the tactical display, calculating. They couldn't win this battle conventionally, not before reinforcements arrived, but they didn't need to win. They just needed to prevent the Valthori from leaving with their captives. Prepare for atmospheric entry, she ordered. We're going planet-side. Captain, Park questioned. The Sentinel isn't designed for. I know. Do it anyway. Alina's gaze was fixed on the colony below, on the compound where children waited in terror, where her nephew might be among them. And prepare all shuttles for evacuation. We're getting those kids out. As the Sentinel began its descent, burning through the atmosphere in a maneuver it was never designed to perform, Alina thought of the Valthori's dismissal of her warning. They'd seen humanity's concern for children as weakness. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The line had been crossed. There would be no mercy now. The consequence of ignorance. The Sentinel screamed through New Haven's atmosphere, hull plates glowing orange from the friction. Warning klaxons blared across every deck as the ship performed maneuvers it was never designed to endure. On the bridge, Captain Alina Reyes gripped her command chair, eyes locked on the tactical display showing their target, the central compound where the Valfori had gathered their captives. Structural integrity at 68%, Lieutenant Park called out, his voice steady despite the ship's violent shuddering. "We'll hold together, Captain, but I can't promise for how long." Elena nodded. "Get me visual on the compound." The main screen flickered to show a prefabricated structure surrounded by makeshift barriers. Valfori warriors patrolled the perimeter, 7-foot-tall predators with chitin-covered bodies and multiple limbs, ending in razor-sharp claws. Outside the barriers lay bodies, many bodies, adults who had tried to protect the children. "Scan for life signs inside," Alina ordered, her voice tight. "Multiple human signatures, 27 adults, 43 juveniles." Park paused. "Some of the readings are weak, Captain." 43. The colony school had 112 children. Alina pushed the thought away. "Focus on those still alive." The sentinel hovered a kilometer from the compound, close enough to be seen, but far enough to avoid immediate counterattack. Alina opened a channel to the civilian fleet engaging the Valfori ship in orbit. "All ships, this is Captain Reyes. We've located the hostages. Continue harassing the Valfori vessel. Don't let them bring weapons to bear on our position." She switched to internal comms. "All hands, prepare for ground assault. Medical teams on standby." Alina had never led a ground operation, not in 27 years of service. The Sentinel was a patrol ship meant for border security and first contact scenarios. But there was no time to wait for Marines or Special Forces. Every minute meant more lives at risk. She turned to her first officer. "Commander Ibarra, you have the bridge. Keep the ship on station, and be ready for emergency evacuation." "Sir," Ibarra replied, concern evident in his eyes. "Regulations state that captains should not." "I know the regulations," Alina cut him off. "I also know my sister's family is down there." She stood, checking the sidearm at her hip. "I'm leading the rescue team." Within minutes, Alina had assembled 30 crew members with combat training. They crowded into the Sentinel's 2 shuttles, faces grim but determined. None had questioned the mission. Code Black transcended normal protocols. As the shuttles prepared to launch, Alina addressed her team. "The Valfori see us as prey, not equals. They think our concern for children is weakness. Today, we show them it's our strength." She looked at each face in turn. "We get those kids out, whatever it takes." The shuttles dropped from the Sentinel's bay, screaming toward the compound. Valfori guards spotted them immediately, opening fire with energy weapons that scorched the hull of Alina's shuttle. The pilot took evasive action, but kept their trajectory steady. Suppressing fire, Alina ordered as they approached. The shuttle's door gunners opened up, forcing the Valfori to take cover. The moment the shuttles touched down, Alina's team erupted from the doors, forming a defensive perimeter. They'd landed 50 meters from the compound's entrance, a desperate sprint through open ground. "Cover team, lay down fire. Assault team with me," Alina commanded, and then she was running, heart pounding, weapon ready. A Valfori warrior leaped at her from behind a barrier. Alina fired without hesitation, a high-energy pulse dropping the alien mid-leap. More appeared, moving with terrifying speed, but her team was ready. They fought their way to the entrance, losing 3 people in the process. Inside, the compound was a maze of holding cells. Alina's team moved methodically, securing each section. They found the first group of children huddled in a corner, eyes wide with terror. "It's okay," Alina told them, kneeling despite the urgency. "We're here to take you home." A small boy stared at her. "They took some of the others away," he whispered, "to their ship." Alina felt cold. "When?" "Just before you came. They said they were studying us." Alina tapped her comm. Sentinel, be advised. Some children have been transported to the Valfori vessel. Alert the fleet. Captain Park's voice came back, tight with excitement. Reinforcements have arrived. Not just the battle group, ships from all over the sector. Military and civilian. The Valfori vessel is surrounded. Hope flared in Alina's chest. The word had spread. Humanity had responded. As her team continued freeing captives and moving them to the shuttles, Alina searched for familiar faces. She found her sister in one of the cells, injured but alive. Mira. Alina helped her to her feet. Where's Alex? Where's your son? Mira's eyes filled with tears. They took him, Alina, to their ship. He fought back when they grabbed another child. And she couldn't continue. Something cold and terrible settled in Alina's chest. Get these people to the shuttles, she told her second in command. I'm going back to the Sentinel. We're not done. By the time Alina returned to orbit, the situation had transformed. Over 100 ships had arrived, frigates, destroyers, cruisers, alongside civilian vessels from across human space. They surrounded the Valfori ship in a sphere of steel and fury. Open a channel to the Valfori commander, Alina ordered as she stepped onto the bridge. The alien's face appeared on screen, insectoid features arranged in what Alina now recognized as confusion. Your reinforcements have arrived, the Valfori stated. We offer to negotiate the release off. No negotiations, Alina interrupted. Return every child unharmed, surrender your vessel, and prepare to face justice for your actions. The Valfori's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. You mistake your position, human. We still hold your young. Your ships cannot attack without risking them. Let me be clear, Alina said, her voice dangerously soft. Every ship you see out there has responded to Code Black. Do you know what that means? It means that if you harm one more child, there isn't a corner of this galaxy where you could hide. We will hunt every Valfori ship, colony, and outpost until your species understands what you've awakened. For the first time, uncertainty crept into the Valfori's posture. Your species is not known for such unity or resolve. You targeted the one thing guaranteed to create that unity. Alina leaned forward. Return the children, or we'll take them. After a tense silence, the Valfori commander responded. We will return your young ones as a gesture of reconsideration, but know that the Valfori do not submit to threats. Alina didn't bother responding. Within an hour, shuttles from the Valfori ship delivered 20 children to the Sentinel, including Alina's nephew Alex. The boy was bruised and terrified, but alive. As Alina held him, she felt the cold fury in her chest begin to thaw. The Valfori ship was escorted from the system by the human battle group, its weapons disabled, its databases copied for analysis. The message was clear. They were being allowed to leave only to spread the word. In the days that followed, as relief ships arrived at New Haven and reconstruction began, Alina received a communication from Fleet Command. The Valfori had sent an official diplomatic message to human authorities. They requested formal recognition of human territory and proposed a non-aggression pact. More tellingly, they had a question. Was the response to their attack standard human protocol, or an aberration? Alina drafted the reply herself. What you witnessed was humanity's child protection protocol, known as Code Black. It is hardwired into our civilization. We extend peaceful relations to all species who respect our boundaries, but this line remains non-negotiable. Harm our children, and you will face the full, unified response of our species. This is not policy. This is human nature. 6 months later, Alina stood on the bridge of the newly repaired Sentinel, preparing to resume patrol duty. New Haven was rebuilding. The children were healing. And somewhere out in the darkness between stars, the Valfori were spreading a crucial piece of intelligence to other species they encountered. The humans had drawn a line. Cross it at your peril. As the Sentinel left orbit, Alina thought of Alex, back in school now, learning alongside children who had shared his ordeal. They would carry scars, but they would grow up. The Valfori had learned what so many before them had discovered. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology or its military might. It was the lengths to which they would go to protect their future. Some called it weakness. Humanity called it love. And they had warned them.